Hey guys, welcome back to the Aspie world. What's going on in my hair? Okay guys, so at the beginning of every video I read a comment from one of you guys. So today I am going to be reading a comment from Ellie Lawrence, and they said, just wondering if ADHD and ADD are on the spectrum. Also love the videos. I've always trying to find new ways to show my friends how life is, and for me the tips and videos will definitely help them understand me and be more accepting. Okay, so to answer the question, ADD and ADHD are comorbid with Asperger's and autism, which means that like people on the spectrum may actually have the condition. So I guess in a way, yes, it is on the spectrum because of that relationship between it being comorbid. I actually have it on my diagnosis, and so I guess, yeah, for that matter, I think it will be on the spectrum somewhere. It may be at the lower end of the spectrum, but because it's comorbid, it will be with sometimes Asperger's and autism. If you guys would like me to read out your comment, please hit that bell icon on desktop and mobile, because I'll be reading out one of the first 30 comments put on the video after it gets uploaded. So make sure you do that so I could potentially read your comment. Okay guys, moving on. This video is all about autism, Asperger's and narcissism. We're going to cover what is narcissism, then we're going to cover how autism, Asperger's and narcissism kind of relate to each other, and then we're going to think about can someone with autism and Asperger's have narcissism also. Okay guys, so narcissism is the apparency of self-obsession, where you are constantly looking for appreciation of yourself. You're always thinking about yourself, you're always trying to look good, and you love how you look. You are always talking about yourself, and you'll talk at length for hours and hours about yourself and not really let anybody have a word in edgeways. And then also you will like favor people who will give you praise and make you happy by saying nice things about you constantly. But if the people who never give you praise or never say anything really positive about you, you kind of like, you push them aside, and you almost hate them in a way, which is really weird, because that people say that narcissistic people are really horrible people, but there's a very interesting analogy where somebody had said that people with narcissism may just be feeling that they don't have a feeling of self-worth and self-love, so they have to gain that self-worth and that love and acceptance from other people. So they constantly surround themselves with people who will tell them that, and they're constantly telling themselves that because it may make them feel better and psychologically may actually stable them out. But obviously from the outlook from another person, it makes them look excessively self-involved and self-obsessed. So Asperger's, how does it differ? So a lot of people confuse Asperger's and narcissism. People say that people have narcissism and they have autism or Asperger's, but Asperger's is different to narcissism in the way that when people with Asperger's will talk for hours at length about their specific topic of interest or themselves, and it's not in the Asperger's way, it's because they don't have that social convention or rule to know, I need to stop talking here to let somebody else talk, because that's a social rule we don't always get. But with narcissism, they kind of just want to talk about themselves because that's how they feel they need to express themselves, and they don't want to let anybody else talk because they feel they need to constantly give themselves self-appreciation. So that differs from Asperger's. Another one is that people with narcissism are supposed to be unempathetic, and unempathetic means that you can't put yourself in someone else's shoes to see it from their perspective, to understand how they feel. People with Asperger's have a difficulty in communicating their emotion through communication. So a lot of people say that people with Asperger's don't have empathy or can't feel empathy, which is slightly incorrect, because I believe that people with Asperger's can feel empathy. They just have a difficult way of explaining that or expanding that, but through the communication issues. But people with narcissism actually don't comprehend empathy. They can't actually empathize with people, so they are different in that respect. So that's kind of like how Asperger's and narcissism kind of cross over a little bit, and people can be maybe misdiagnosed with that. But another thing is that some people say, well, can people with Asperger's have narcissism, and vice versa? Can people with narcissism have Asperger's syndrome? And I guess the answer is yes, because they're quite similar in the way that they react. They have similar traits, but also because Asperger's is comorbid and so is narcissism, both conditions can exist simultaneously within one person's mental capacity. So I think that it's definitely apparent that people with narcissism can be autistic or have Aspergers syndrome, and people with Aspergers syndrome and autism can actually have narcissism. But there needs to be a deeper and greater understanding into narcissism. This is obviously a light overview of just some interesting information there. But I do know that some people have been misdiagnosed with narcissism when they have Aspergers syndrome, and some people have been misdiagnosed with Aspergers when they may actually have narcissism, which is quite interesting. But as we found out from my series on females and Asperger's, misdiagnosis is quite common within this kind of community. If you'd like to learn more about autism and Asperger's, please make sure you hit the subscribe button up there so you don't miss a video, and click that bell icon also. If you'd like to keep up to date with my daily life, please click here to check out my daily vlogs, and if you'd like to see my latest video, it'll be around here somewhere. Make sure you leave me a comment because I read every single one and reply to every single comment, and I'll see you next time, guys. Peace!